Hello everyone, it's Lottie from Cancer is a Lifestyle. So yesterday I was catching up on a lot of my YouTube channels that I watch, and I'm sitting here watching the Gab and Gammy and Donna, and I'm eating my yogurt, and she's doing this tag. What do you call it? And since I haven't heard it, I haven't heard this tag, and I'm like, and it's kind of asking you questions on what do you call this and what do you call that, and it gives you a description and you have to kind of give an answer. And I'm thinking, boy, she's really good, because she knows all of them. And then she ends it and then she says, so who am I going to tag? Oh, I know, Lottie. And she just does that, like that whole neck just went Lottie. And I'm like, what? I almost dropped my yogurt. What? You're going to tag me? I don't know anything. So today I'm going to do the tag. What do you call it? Tag, okay? So we're going to go through it fast because I don't know anything, okay? So we're just going to have some fun with it. So the first one is, what do you call cooking food outside on an outside grill? Well, I am from Chicago, you guys. Even though I was born in Poland and I lived there for about 7 years of my life, I have been raised in Chicago until maybe a year ago, where I moved here to Springfield, Illinois. So we've called it barbecue, and everybody loved barbecue in the city. When it was a holiday, they would barbecue, okay? It wasn't until I came here and I saw, like, I think I was when my son was living in Missouri, I visited some friends of his, and that I realized that there's different things, that it's not just barbecue, but there's grilling, there's smoking, there's all kinds of stuff that people call it. And in fact, people made their own grills out of the barrels and all. Like, I've seen some real creative stuff. Like, they didn't go and buy a grill, they made a grill. That's how serious it is. So in the city, it is barbecue, baby. Number 2, a carbonated beverage. Okay, this one I get corrected all the time. I call it a soda, but here everyone calls it pop. Where is it? And who cares? But it's a big deal. I call it, hey, give me that soda. It's pop. Like it's the end of the world, people. You call it pop. Who cares? It's a soda. Drink. 3, the thing you put your groceries around to carry, you put your groceries in. Well, we've called it a cart. So I wasn't sure if this was talking about like a shopping cart or one of those push carts that, like, I remember my mom and my grandma having when they would go to the store. These wire things, they weren't fancy. Like, now they got some really nice ones, with material and cloth. But that's what we call them, carts, and actually we call them like grandma carts because grandmas used to push those around. Okay, so how do you say Pecan? I say pecan. That's how I've always said. Give me some pecans. Everybody has their own way, and I've been watching channels where they're talking about pecan, pecans, tomato. It's like, it's just where you're at and what you're comfortable with. The last piece of bread in a loaf. Let me tell you what I call that. I call it a crust. It's really a butt, but I call it a crust, or a crust butt. Whatever, it's a piece of bread. Give me that crust. You can tell I haven't been anywhere. Athletic footwear. Okay, I have yet, anyway, I called it gym shoes, because I can remember going to school in my, when I was young, and I don't know, do you guys remember this, where we would have to change for gym? even though we were, we would have to change into a gym uniform and put on our gym shoes. So I've always referred to them as gym shoes, I never referred to them as sneakers or tennis, or any of those. I would always be gym shoes. Put on those gym shoes. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just having some fun with this. So, okay, what do you call the little lobster-looking creatures in freshwater streams? Well, those are crawfish, but I've also called them crawlies, even though I know that that's not a crawly, that a crawly is something else that like you put on the end of your hook. But go to a restaurant, you just say, hey, give me all of that, all you can eat. That's what I call it, all you can eat crawfish. Oh, I had too much coffee today. Okay. Water tap inside and or outside. Well, inside it's a faucet, and I've always called it a faucet. Outside, it's really a spigot, but I have yet to call it a spigot. You know what I call it, you guys? This is how crazy. Or maybe I'm just stupid. I don't know. I called it turn on the hose. That's what I remember. Like, I remember my mom always, turn on the hose. She would love to water outside, and every night she would just, when she would water the garden, and she would also hose down the sidewalk or the patio. So it'd be like, turn on the hose. You see all the professional answers here? Aren't you glad you tagged me? What do you call liquid that makes your car go? It's gas. That's when we call it gas. Although I don't know, like, what else do people call it? Gasoline? I don't know. I guess it just kind of depends on where you live, What do you call the space at the back of your car? Well, I've always called it a trunk. Even though nowadays cars really don't have trunks anymore. They have cargo spaces, really, because the trunks have just been redesigned, but I call it a trunk. And in fact, I think still a lot of people call it a trunk, even though it's really a cargo space, right? Even like for trick-or-treating, what do they call it? Trick and trunk treat for Halloween. Is that how it goes? What do you call lights that regulate traffic? I call them traffic lights. And in fact, sometimes I will even, like, without thinking, I will say, hey, stop lights, when it's not stop lights, for heaven's sakes. But I'll have to, like, my mouth gets all tongue-tied, and instead of saying, hey, at the traffic light, I'll say stop lights. What do you call a place you buy alcohol? Liquor store. I don't know. This must be like a city thing, because that's what we would call it. Like, going to the liquor store. Go down to the liquor store. And they had some in the city. I don't know out here if you guys, but they have like really big places like Benny's and the liquor barn or whatever, and it'd be like just like a huge store with all kinds of liquor. Thing you switch on your TV. Well, we call it a remote control, but you could call it the clapper, because at one time I remember I won the clapper. Remember the clapper, you guys, when it was out? I won it at work, and I brought it home all excited because I had the clapper. I won the clapper, and I hooked it up, and we had it on for maybe not even an hour before we were so done with that clapper, because it picks up signs. So every time there was a sign, a little noise or a sound, it would clap on, clap off, clap on, clap off. So if you sneezed, it would clap off. It would clap on. And it drove us crazy because it was very sensitive to sound, because you're supposed to clap on, clap off. So we took that thing off within the hour. We were so tired of it because every little thing would set it off, you know, and the TV and the lights were going on and off all the time. So yeah, crazy stuff. Uh, what do you call a place that you get your medicine? I was listening to some answers, and it never dawns on my mind to call it a pharmacy. I don't know what is wrong with my mind, people, because I call it Walgreens. You gotta get your prescription. I gotta go to Walgreens. I just, like, where was I raised, guys? I'm like the only one that thinks this stuff. What do you call breakfast you eat with syrup? Pancakes. But yet, I've only heard one person call it flapjacks, but it's really hot cakes too, depending on where you go, but we've always called it pancakes. The thing that gives you info about roads and stuff, GPS or Google Map. Remember, you know, it's funny because you can ask a generation, like if you ask my dad, he'd probably tell you an atlas. Because I remember as a kid that they would have, you know, like, you know, in the glove compartment, all these maps that they would just take out. Like, I would be like, how do you have time to take and unfold this big old map, you know, as you're driving? And, you know, it's just hilarious to me, you know, but that's how it was. But for me, it's a GPS or a Google Maps. Machine you get money from. That's an ATM. Even though, I mean, like, people use them all the time, but they're not as, you know, I don't think people use them as much as they used to in the beginning, you know, because now you can do everything online. Like, you don't have to go for, you know. What do you call that sweet on a stick? Well, I call it a lollipop. And I call it a lollipop, I think, because when I was growing up, you know, my name Lottie, it was very unusual. I went to a Catholic school, a parochial school, and there were all Anns and Marys and Susans. Those were the popular names, Linda. And so I was the only Lottie. Like, I just stuck out like a sore thumb. And they used to call me Lolly. You know, Lolly, like a lollipop. And that was their nickname for me, Lolly, Lolly. So I've always remembered that. Give me a lolly. Lollipop. Oh, I just had a lot of fun with this tag because it's so funny, because you can have different answers for everything. So thank you, Donna, for tagging me in this. I've had a lot of fun. I know that a lot of my answers are stupid, but I don't think there's any correct answers. It's all about, like, what do you call it? What do you call this? You know, this is what I call it. You know, I call it a, you know, hose. Turn on the hose. So I tag everybody. I think anybody can do it. Who wants to? But I am going to tag one person, because you know what? If I'm going to suffer, she's going to suffer too. And if you know me, you know who that is. Who is it, everybody? It's Terry. So Terry from Nana's Crochet Ideas, I tag you in this. And knowing her, I can guarantee you that she probably will give you what it's called all over the 50 states, and then what it's called in France and in Italy and everywhere else. Because that's how my friend is, and I love her. So, Terry, it's your turn now, honey. Okay, thank you so much for watching, you guys, and I hope you will have a wonderful day. And hey, it's good to laugh, isn't it? It's just good to laugh sometimes, no matter how bad your day is going, or how bad things in your life are going. It's good to just laugh sometimes and be silly and stupid, you know? There's nothing wrong with being silly and stupid. So, hey, and have a great day. Bye. Whoa, don't want to